The time to make history starts right now, right now, right now.
One more win.
One game.
One chance.
All season we
Fought and you're ready for any situation.
And the Cardinals come back to within one.
There are no compromises.
There are no excuses.
And interceptions in four straight games.
There's only right now.
A little fake with his shoulders, and he's picked off Polamalu another.
A champion will be crowned.
Fitzgerald takes him to the end zone. 62 yards.
This is my time.
This is my time.
Pittsburgh might be bound for Super Bowl 43 thanks to number 43.
To own the moment.
I've seen a lot of games, and I have a feeling this one is going to be special.
Ooh, wait. Man, if that doesn't give you chill bumps, you know what I mean? If that doesn't get you hyped, if that doesn't get you ready to play some football, man, then you just don't know. Man, oh man. Hello, guys. Welcome to the channel. And last episode, or last video I posted, I talked about Madden NFL 09 on the Xbox 360 and how I remember it was so much better than I remember. I remember it being bad, honestly. And coming back to it, I was like thinking, hey, this is actually pretty dope. It's got deep stat tracking, and maybe we could move over and do a franchise on this game. Look at this. This is cool, by the way. I press start. It zooms you out. If you hit, this is the best menu and the best like loading up intro Madden ever did. You could argue maybe Madden 13 with Ray Lewis was really good and up there. I think this one is my favorite just because Troy Polamalu is my favorite player. But this one and Madden 13 are the best by far. But look at this. I hit play now and it zooms me into the scoreboard there. And you can pick your teams. Like, how cool is that? You back out. I just think it's so cool. So, yeah, I was looking into Madden 09 because in Madden 09 on the Xbox 360, I never really played it. That was one of the ones I kind of missed. The first ever Madden on the 360 that I got deep into, I mean, I dropped 500 hours probably or more, was this Madden right here, Madden 10. And this was such a really good Madden. I didn't remember it having deep stat tracking though. I remember it having create a team and all that stuff, which I do believe, if my memory serves me right. Yeah, creation zone. Yeah, you could create a player, you could even edit uniforms, and things like that. So yeah, you could customize, the uniforms and whatnot. You can't change them, but you could, mismatch them. But yeah, you could create a new team, create players, stuff like that. But franchise mode was really fun on this Madden, specifically because they had this a weekly recap show called The Extra Point, and it was amazing. It wasn't on 2K5's level, but it blows Madden 26 out of the water. It's not even close, guys. And it was just, it blew my mind. I remember when I was in middle school playing this game, thinking this is so cool, compared to the PS2 that I used to play on. This was just amazing. With that being said, I've tried to emulate this game in the past on my, and I just couldn't get it to work. The uniforms, the gameplay, it was all laggy, and I couldn't play it. So I thought it wasn't an option. But one of you guys left a comment down below in the last video talking about how Madden 09 was good in certain ways, but that stats didn't matter. And so that it was really held back by that, and it honestly wasn't that good because like accuracy and throw power just literally did not affect the gameplay. And so that made me obviously wanting to know, because if I'm going to do a series on it, that does matter to me. And I did do some testing, and I found out that that wasn't true completely, that stats do matter in Madden 09, but just not enough. To see a big difference, for instance, I would have to take the throwing accuracy of somebody and drop it down to 20 or to 30 overall before I start seeing, you know, them just throw interceptions every time. There wasn't enough of a gap. You know, that feeling between what's the difference between a 77 overall accuracy and a 78 overall accuracy? How much does each rating point matter? And in Madden 09, it matters, but just not enough to make a difference. And so that did kind of bum me out. And I got a new PC, and so long story short, I decided to work on getting Madden NFL 10, a game that I so loved way back in the day and put so many hours on it. And, well, good news, I've gotten it to run pretty good. It actually runs better than Madden 09, believe it or not. My PC can handle it, and man, I've been having some fun. And I'm thinking of maybe moving the franchise series over here. It's just been such a blast. But real quick, look at these old rosters, man. They're just, dude, this is when what's his name? I mean, what's his name? He's such a good quarterback. Many people don't really respect, you know, they don't put him on the radar. This is one of the best quarterbacks. I think we don't appreciate him enough. Matthew Stafford. Such a beast. He was just 21 years old. You know, I think he's probably in his last season. You know, maybe two more here in IRL, right? But what about young Joe Flacco before he won that Super Bowl? Right? He's still going at it, man. This was a good. Joe Flacco has such a unique career in the NFL. Nothing quite like his career that he's had. He's had such a long, successful career, really. I mean, I love Joe Flacco, man. What about Matt Ryan? He took the league by storm, I feel like. I mean, he was such a good player. I think he is the best Atlanta Falcons quarterback to ever play for the Atlanta Falcons. Period. You can argue with me, or you can maybe you know, leave your suggestions down in the comments below, but I do think he is the best by far. Unfortunately, couldn't get it done. So close. I don't even know how to take that Super Bowl against the Patriots there, but yeah. Such a cool thing. I remember Jamarcus Russell, and I thought he was going to be good back in the day here. So cool. Mark Sanchez. Oh my goodness. We ain't going to talk about Mark Sanchez. He was such a, you know, he was so hyped up. And then he's had some horrible things happen in real life. Which hopefully he pays for. Anyways. Yeah. Pretty cool, you know, stuff to look at. This is obviously just a year ahead of 09, so we kind of know what the rosters look like. But, I wanted to just show you guys, really quick, what I'm talking about here. And why I think why I think I'm gonna do a franchise on this Madden instead of Madden 09. So let's just sim 1 week ahead. Here's the franchise menu. You have, so they overhauled this. This is the first year they overhauled this from, you know, the previous Mads. It looked completely different when this game came out. You have the weather up top, you know, from weather.com, so it's really cool. They have, you know, that license there to use them. Tells you what week it is. And you have this thing on the right. And I was looking and I was like, man, you know, I like this Madden, but I lost the deep stat tracking. You know, there is no way to view the history of the league because you're looking here and you can't see it. But if you hit but it doesn't pop up until you get like 2 seasons in. There's going to be another bar here that shows up, and it is your history. So you don't lose that deep stat tracking from 09. It just doesn't show up right away. So in other words, it's going to track every single Super Bowl and every single game in that you ever play. So if you're in your franchise year 10, but you want to go back to year 3 and see, who played in week 4 and what were the results, you can literally do that. You can get, you know what I mean? So I love that. That was the only thing making me want to maybe say 09 is worth playing. But really, the two compared, 09 is not worth playing compared to Madden 10 here. This was such a good Madden because it also gives you this amazing feature, which we will show real quick. We just got to sim through preseason. This is by far, the deep stat tracking and this feature here is why this Madden is got to be possibly one of the best Maddens. I think people overlook this Madden so much. The presentation for this Madden was amazing. And I think just there's not a lot of people that know about it. So, here we are. We've played 1 week in the regular season. I want you to keep in mind the recap show that Madden 26 has. And let's take a look at here, the extra point.
This is the extra point.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Extra Point. I'm Fran Charles from NFL Network, and we're set to take you around the league with game recaps, previews, and much more. Let's swing it over to Alex Flanagan, who'll get us started.
Thanks, Fran. Up first, highlights and stats from the weekend's best games, brought to you by Sprint. Let's begin in Seattle, where the Rams came to town to take on their NFC West rivals. Seattle struggled a lot on third down. The Seahawks earned the victory 34-20. The San Francisco 49ers clashed with the Arizona Cardinals at the University of Phoenix Stadium. San Francisco's defense forced 2 turnovers. The Cards needed overtime, but they got the job done. Final score in this one, 13-10. The New York Jets went up against the Houston Texans. Houston's defense was completely relentless chasing the quarterback. They brought him down 8 times. Houston prevailed, 27-24.
Here are the NFC West standings after Week 1.
All right, so it's time now to present our top 2 players of the week. Tom Brady was recognized as the Offensive Player of the Week. Here's a look at the Defensive Player of the Week winner.
All right, Alex, thank you. Now here's a look at the entire slate of games this weekend. Great games are on tap for this weekend. Alex will give you a preview of the best matchups.
Pittsburgh goes to Chicago to take on the Bears. Willie Parker is leading the rushing attack for the Steelers so far. Seattle hits the road to take on San Francisco. San Francisco is ranked 5th in the NFL in red zone percentage. New England will visit Giants Stadium to take on the Jets. Tom Brady is off to a solid start for the Patriots.
That'll do it from the studio. I'm Fran Charles from NFL Network. Join us next time for The Extra Point.
This has been The Extra Point, brought
All
to you
right,
by
guys.
Madden
There
NFL
it
10.
is, the extra point. Now, I know you were thinking, oh my goodness, Johnny, this is amazing. How much more will they cover? I don't know if I can sit here for 15 minutes and watch an extra point. Well, listen, this also changes depending on how far you are in your season. If you're in week 15, they're going to talk about the playoff bubble. They're going to talk about the playoff tree or picture. They're going to talk about who's clinched their division. They're going to talk about who is the best candidate for MVP. At the end of the year, they're going to talk about who won all the awards. They're going to cover the playoff matchups, and they're going to talk about what they believe each team is going to need to do to win the game. And you might be thinking, okay, Johnny, but they didn't show any gameplay. They didn't show any highlights. Well, why do you need highlights? That is so much more in depth. That is so much better. And I'll tell you, I'll do you one further. The highlights that you see on Madden 26's recap show, they don't even add up to the stats that are simulated. So in other words, if you actually were to take Madden 26 recap highlights and look at the stat lines that they say the players threw for, if you go and you look at the game, if you go to league schedule and actually look at the game, it's not going to match up. As to where in this game, if they say a quarterback threw for 300 yards and you go and you look at the score log, it's going to say that he threw for 300 yards. This is just so much better. Obviously, graphics and gameplay may not be the best, but another thing this Madden does better, and just all the Maddens back in the day did better, is this right here. And this bugs me so much with modern Madden. It's almost why I just cannot have fun anymore, and I probably won't be playing another modern Madden again until they make it more like the real life sport. Injuries. It's a part of the game. You cannot get around them. They happen, and that's okay. Look at all these injuries. Now this is almost a little too much if you ask me, but then again, you know, there's more injuries that happen than we think. So this is a lot of injuries. Now I do believe I kept real life injuries on when I started up this franchise, so whatever injuries happened back in 2009, they are in here. But there are even career-ending injuries back in the day. I don't know if they took him out in this game or not. I don't know if that's what the red means. Like, this is a career ending for him. It just says out for season. But I was simming in 09, and I actually came across players retiring early at like the age of 26 and 27 because they took a career-ending injury. Complete Achilles tear should be a career-ending injury probably. Or at least back in the day it was. I don't know how serious. I feel like it's probably career-ending even now. It's definitely hard to come back from. But the injuries were so much more serious, so much more realistic in this Madden. Player management, so like the overalls, they were pretty good. You do got to keep in mind, like, the overalls are a little more bloated. So, you know, if you keep that in mind, it's pretty fair across the league. Like, the simulation is pretty good in this game. The simulation stats. I think they're better, I would argue, than in real life. I haven't simmed the whole season. I'm not going to here. But I simmed 8 seasons as a test here before making this video. And you do get realistic stat lines. Especially with passing. I feel like the passing is really some of the best simulation I've seen. This and 09 have pretty good simulation. The running has really good simulation. One thing that I would say this kind of lacks in is the sack stat line. Out of 8 seasons, the highest NFL leader sack I seen was 17. I feel like they're getting more nowadays than that, but you know, that's such a small little thing, right? Like I think we should do a franchise here on Madden 10. So once you start simulating, once you get into your second year on franchise mode, between settings and finances is going to be a new icon that pops up, and it's like history, league history, and it will have the league history of league leaders, so stats from, you know, past seasons, and obviously who won the Super Bowl, and really, like I said before, any game from that year. So, you know, you'll be able to look at the league schedule from 2009, even though you're in 2025. You're right, like, so I think that's just so cool. But you guys let me know what you think. What Madden do you remember as being like the GOAT? I know after this, we got Madden 11 and Madden 12, and most people refer to Madden 12 as being the Madden before everything just fell completely apart. But there's a lot of people that say Madden 11 is the best out of this era, right? The PS3, the Xbox 360 era. But for me, specifically with what I'm trying to do, which is emulating these games on PC, Madden 10 is, I think, my favorite so far. It does beg the question, maybe I should take a look at Madden 11 and Madden 12. I'll be honest with you though, I don't really think, I'm not the biggest fan of Madden 12 when it comes to like the menus, right? The stats and that kind of thing. I think Madden 12 was the best in gameplay, but they did not have the extra point show on Madden 12. I believe they had it for Madden 11 and then they took it out for some reason. So, I don't know. Maybe Madden 11 is the way to go. But I'm really feeling Madden 10. I also have to be honest here. I do have a little bit of bias because this was the first Madden I sank the most amount of hours in my middle school, you know, years. On the PS2, I think I played Madden 2005 the most. I didn't even know what I was doing back then. This was the first Madden where I kind of started to figure stuff out a little bit, and I just loved it. As far as like the drafting goes, it didn't get upgraded for the longest time. So this is the same, really the same type of scouting that you see in Madden 2007 on the Xbox 360. But I do think the draft pools, right, the draft classes, should I say, generate better than they did in previous ones. But you still have the potential bar, which I don't necessarily think is accurate completely. So if I was to look at quarterbacks here, you know, I could go here and try to take a look at the full report. I don't have any scouting notes because I haven't scouted nobody, but his potential is high. You see his 40-yard dash, weak scouted. I haven't scouted him at all. Augustus Gordon, 6'5", though. You know, maybe you take a look at him. And so you would, you know, just select who you want to scout for that week, and you can keep it on those players and just scout them all year long if you want. But this is kind of how the scouting works in the draft. So, you know, you just do it as you go out, and as you sim through weeks, you go to the report, and you're just going to get notes, more and more notes as you sim along. So there was also a whole financing aspect to this game as well. Player salary, so you had like team expenses, team income. You can upgrade your stadium. You can relocate in this game as well. And if you have enough, if you have a really good stadium, up in the top stories here, when you're in the off season, you can actually win the bid to host the next Super Bowl, which I thought was really cool. And if you hosted the Super Bowl, you did get a percentage of the profit that Super Bowl would generate, which would help you in the offseason. So it's almost like it would pay off for you to maybe invest in building your stadium and making it better. But we're in the middle of the year, so I can't, or at the beginning of the year, so I can't really show you guys that. That's all off-season stuff. But nevertheless, it's really cool. And one last thing to note before I end this episode, or end this video, is the salary, contract negotiation. From my testing on 09, the players will take whatever you throw at them. So that's another negative about 09. But in this game, players have a whole profile sheet on what they value. They could want to have good wide receivers if they're a quarterback. They could want to play for winning, or they could really be money hungry and they just want money. And that's going to really change if you can lowball them or not. There were players that in my testing on this game that I drafted, and they wouldn't take the base offer as a rookie, and I had to give them a little bit more money to sign their rookie contract. By the way, in this game, the players that you draft, they don't automatically come on your team. You actually have to negotiate with them a contract. And some of them, if their character is they just care about money, you've gotta highball them a little bit. And I like that because it makes, building a team a little bit more challenging. But I think that's it. I think I've covered everything here. Chances are I'm going to be bringing franchise mode here on, one of my favorite Maddens from the Xbox 360 era. And you know what? I'm excited for it. And I hope you guys are too. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. And I hope you enjoyed this blast from the past. Have a great day.